This video is going to be on how to identify high impact tasks in order to get ahead at work. Okay, so at this point, I'm pretty sure we're all probably aware of the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of our results come from 20% of our effort. Well, what we want to be doing at work on a daily basis is really focusing on that 20% and making that 20% as productive and influential as possible, because that is what will set us apart from everyone else, from our coworkers, from our competition, from everyone, and that will elevate us and allow us to position ourselves well within companies. And so one of the ways that we do that is we want to make sure that we are prioritizing and taking care of high impact tasks, or hits for short, because the more that we're doing high impact tasks, the more that we're setting ourselves apart and the more influence and the more impact we're having at work. And so that's what we want to be focusing on. That's what this video is focused on. The best way that I have been able to think about this in the past few years is splitting up my tasks into two different categories, two different buckets. The first one are maintenance tasks, and the second one are the high impact tasks, or the hit tasks. And basically, the maintenance tasks, these are tasks that you need to do in order to maintain where you currently are, right? Maintain the status quo. You know, if you have to run a weekly report or a daily report, or if you have work that's allocated to you that has to get done by the end of the week, right? That's kind of like your baseline maintenance tasks. But then you have your other tasks over here, your high impact tasks that really focus on the future, right? The maintenance task is more on just like the present, getting you through your current responsibilities. And then the high impact tasks are the tasks that focus on creating a better future. Typically, the vast majority of people are really only working on maintenance tasks, right? They're only doing the status quo, only doing what is necessary to maintain their current workload. But you will want to find ways to focus on the high impact tasks, because again, that's what's going to set you apart from everyone else. All right, so let's say that you've already separated your tasks and you realize that you're really low on high impact tasks, or you don't have any at all, and you need to get some. What does that look like, and how do you figure out, again, what a high impact task is and how can you start to do it? Well, in general, a high impact task is just problem solving. You're just looking for a problem and you're taking ownership of that problem and you're looking to solve it. And so the first thing that you want to ask yourself, right, you can go through a series of questions in order to figure out what high impact task opportunities there are. And so the first question you can ask is, what area or process creates pain in your department? Is there a report or is there a process that people do not enjoy doing that causes a lot of issues? You know, anything that creates a lot of pain is a really good area for you to take ownership of and to spend time solving. Another question that you can ask is, what area or process has potential pain, right? Are you going through a transition? Are you updating something that will affect another process down the road that will create a lot of pain? You know, can you go ahead and look ahead and start solving that process now so that it doesn't cause a lot of pain when you do actually move forward with it? Another question you can ask yourself is, do you have any current workarounds? Meaning that a process or something is not working as intended, and so you have a temporary workaround or a process that kind of works around the issue. Are there any of those workarounds that people have adapted that you can go and do the extra work and solve officially so that people don't have to do the workarounds anymore? That's another really good high impact task question. Another question you can ask is, what process takes up a large portion of time? If you have a process that takes up a large portion of everyone's time, just one small fix or one small improvement can save hundreds of hours a year for everyone in your department, which which is a very economical problem to solve, right? If you have an hour-long process and you can slim it down by 10 minutes, that 10 minutes saved for everyone adds up a lot at the end of the year and at the end of, a 5-year period. Those little fixes really, really do help the bottom line and will get you noticed. So those are kind of like the low-hanging fruit for high impact tasks. If you're already working on those and you want some higher level impact tasks to work on, or you just want to create, a larger list and, look at opportunities that are within your department or within your job function, here are some higher level questions that you can ask in order to determine a high impact task in order to start taking ownership of in your department. In order to determine a higher level impact task, you can ask yourself, is there a skill that is lacking in the department that will lead to more problem solving? So basically you kind of have to look at your department as a whole, and you have to evaluate it, and you have to, look at, okay, is there a specific skill that is lacking within this department that if I learned that skill, that would allow me to do a lot more problem solving and therefore work on a lot more high impact tasks. A very simple example of this is if your department is heavily reliant on Excel, on the Excel program, but no one in your department is like an Excel expert or has, minimum exposure or is just intermediate with Excel, right? That might be a skill set that you could take on and master that will allow you to solve a lot of problems in your department with Excel, and that would definitely be like a high impact task to learn that will lead to a lot of problem solving that will get you recognized at work. Another one is what are the department goals and where are your people or where are the people falling short? And if so, can that be fixed? So, like if your department has KPIs, right, key performance indicators, and your teammates and maybe even you are falling short on hitting those KPIs, what can you figure out or what problem can you solve that will help you maintain those key KPIs or even track those KPIs, right? What process improvement or what can you do in order to make that goal or KPI easier to hit? It's another high impact task question that you can ask. Another one you can do is what can you do that positively affects your boss's goals? So this is a really cool one where depending on your relationship with your boss, you can, kind of get an understanding of what their goals for the fiscal year are. And from there, you can make sure to prioritize what you can do to help them hit their goals. And that will make you much more valuable. And your boss will definitely appreciate you for that. And that will set you apart from everyone else around you. And then ultimately, you can also ask yourself what is considered high value by your department/company and how can you improve upon that, right? Does your company have core values or a slogan or, what's the foundation? What's the skeletal structure of your company? What are their beliefs and what do they stand by? And what are ways that you can improve upon those and have your department improve upon those? Your company values community. Can you come up with a monthly get together that focuses on community within your department, right? Ways to kind of increase those core principles within your department could also be considered high impact tasks that will get you recognized. So once you have your list once you've asked yourself all those questions and you have probably a large list of potential high impact tasks to work on, you'll want to ask yourself 3 additional questions to help you prioritize that list. The first is, how many people does this high impact task affect? And so basically what you're doing here is you want to identify the tasks that affect the most people, because when you focus on a task that affects more people, that by definition is going to have more impact, right? If you are just focusing on ways to increase your own speed, but not anyone else's, no one's going to notice. But if you focus on problem solving for everyone else, then everyone's going to notice. And that's what would be considered a high impact task. And that is an area that you would want to focus on. Another one is how much time or how many dollars does it save? If you can convert the task or the problem solved into a number, that's really, really helpful, because you can document it, you can communicate it to your boss, and you can keep a record of it. And that can help track your impact. And if you can tie it to a number, that will definitely make it easier for you to prioritize what has a higher impact and what has a lower impact. And again, make you stand out from everyone else. And then, kind of a really cool question that you can ask, that sounds a little interesting at first is, will it get you noticed? Meaning that if you solve that problem, will people notice and congratulate and thank you on it? Now, this is not to service our ego or to service your ego or anything like that. It's just a really good question to ask in order to gauge the impact that that solve would have, right? If it's something that no one would even care, then that's not a high impact task, or it's not as high of an impact task. Whereas if you come up with a solve for something else that everyone's like, oh my goodness, that was I hated doing that extra step, or the fact that you took it from 20 minutes down to 10, is so huge in my work process. Thank you so much. Right. If you're coming across those tasks where people you will be noticed for solving that, then those are tasks you definitely want to prioritize. And that would be a very good high impact task to focus and prioritize and solve for your team. So you'll want to go through this process often, right? Where you're making sure that you're allocating time to high impact tasks, and you want to make sure that you're, constantly working on a steady flow of these high impact tasks. And so you can always, take one day out of the week or maybe one day out of the month and kind of go through all these questions in order to come up with new high impact tasks, and then prioritize those high impact tasks in order to make sure that you're maximizing the impact that you're having on your department in order to get recognized. And of course, while you're doing all this, right, with you being recognized and solving all these problems and managing your workload correctly and having this massive level of impact, you're going to set yourself up very, very well for a promotion or a raise. If the situation presents itself, you're going to be standing out far more than anyone else on your team. And so when a promotion does come around, your name is going to be the first one that everyone thinks of, and it would be very, very well deserved. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more content like this, then go ahead and subscribe down below so that you don't miss a single video. And if you want to level up at work even more, check out my free course down below on the Eve method. It will show you how to determine the best possible way of getting your work done at work in order to drastically increase your productivity, save you massive amounts of time so that you can spend that time in other areas of your life.